Esther Chapter 6, the king plans to honor Mordecai. On that night, the king could not sleep, so he ordered that the book of records and memorable deeds, the chronicles, be brought, and they were read before the king. It was found written there how Mordecai had reported that the two king's eunuchs, who were doorkeepers, had planned to attack King Xerxes. The king said, what honor or distinction has been given to Mordecai for this? And he had said nothing had been done for him. So the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman had just entered the outer courts of the king's palace to ask the king about hanging Mordecai on the gallows which he had prepared. The king's servant said to him, look, Haman is standing in the court. And the king said, let him come in. So Haman came in, and the king said to him, what is to be done for the man whom the king desires to honor? Now Haman thought to himself, who would the king desire to honor other than me? He's like, who else is going to be there besides me? It's just going to be me. So Haman said to the king, for the man whom the king desires to honor, let a royal robe be brought which the king has worn, and the horse on which the king has ridden, and on whose head a royal crown has been placed. And let the robe and the horse be handed over to one of the king's most noble officials. Let him dress the man whom the king delights to honor in the royal robe, and lead him on horseback. This is what shall be done for the man whom the king desires to honor. So sometimes, even though it just shows like you may do things for good, right? You may do things for good that go unnoticed. But God sees every single one of them. God sees everyone and will honor that at some point in your days for doing the right thing, right? Haman must honor Mordecai. So then the king said to Haman, quickly take the royal robe and the horse as you have said, and do this for Mordecai, the Jew who is sitting at the king's gate. Leave out nothing of all that you have said. So Haman took the royal robe and the horse and dressed Mordecai and led him on horseback through the open square of the city, proclaiming before him, this is what shall be done for the man who the king desires to honor. Then Mordecai returned to the king's gate, but Haman hurried to his own house mourning with his head covered in sorrow. Then Haman told Zeresh, his wife, and all of his friends everything that had happened to him. Then his wise counselor and his wife Zeresh said to him, if Mordecai, before whom you have begun to fall in status, is of Jewish heritage, you will not overcome him, but it will certainly fall before him. So you're seeing God's hand at work on behalf of his people. No sooner had Mordecai's reward been discussed than Haman appears in court. And it says, while they were still speaking with him, the king's eunuchs arrived and hurriedly brought Haman to the banquet which Esther had prepared. All right, we are reading and learning. We're going through. We're going to find out what happens with Esther and Mordecai and the fate of the Jewish people here. So come back tomorrow.